That's audio.
No, I don't want that.
Hey guys, can everybody hear me? Good deal. All righty. We'll just wait for some other folks to hop on here. About a 2-minute window for social hour, social 2 minutes. We'll get started with the meeting.
John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I sure can. In fact, you're too loud. No, I'm just kidding. That's all good. No, rather be too loud and not enough. So
I'll speak softly.
we're all good. Yeah. Make sure nobody's in the waiting room. It's like, yeah, look, no, here we go. Okay, everybody's in. Hey Alexa, how we doing? Can you hear us all?
Good afternoon, John.
Oh, wrong Alexa.
So John, someone is on shopping.
Okay, here I am. I am. Good to see you all.
Yeah, same here.
And we're apparently still here.
Okay.
We had 2 of you on here. There's another one in the house. When I talk, it cuts on. I have to remember that.
Okay. Are we waiting for John?
It's John. You see me?
I don't know. Maybe I should go back to bed or get some other coffee or something.
I know.
Sorry about that.
No.
Sorry. Okay. Well, I have my calendar. At least I can just read my text. Okay. Well, let's do this. Call the meeting to order. Well, I'm glad we're all still here. Amy and I both asked to be reappointed, and the county commission did just that. So here we are. So, new year, same board. Adopt the agenda. We need to do that formally. Does it look good to everyone? Does anyone want to make a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda as it's written.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. That was unanimous. Did we get minutes from last meetings or was that just too quick?
You know, like I said, I got them. I don't know if you guys, I may have slipped up.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, we can approve the minutes of this meeting and the previous one next time around. This is kind
Yeah.
of quick turnaround, so
Yeah, we can do that.
understandable. Okay, we're still doing electronic meetings because Utah code tells us we can without an anchor location. Public comment. Do we have anyone of the public who wants to comment? Hey, Jim. If you unmute yourself, go ahead.
I just wanted to, before you guys vote on this, rent for that office, I had something to say. I was on the board back there, and I was at the board meeting when Ray Golden said that if NLP got the contract for maintenance, that he would provide an office for TUID at no cost. Now he wants to renege. A verbal agreement before the whole board is just as good as a written agreement. And I think they should be held liable to provide the office as long as they have the contract. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Do you want to add to that? Go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, thank you guys for what you've been doing. You've done a fairly good job in following the agendas and getting things accomplished around here. However, I don't think that there's been a lot of structure to the meetings. And what I mean by that is it seems to be all over the place. It's not the same time or the same day each month, each quarter, however it is that you guys want to set it up. But in order for a lot of us to plan on attending these meetings, it's helpful for us to know what day of the week or the time and as an example, say, okay, it's going to be held the first Monday of every month at 6:38 p.m., something like that. Sometimes it's at 1 o'clock, sometimes it's at 6, sometimes it's, and it's just all over the place. And I think that needs to have more structure so all of us are prepared to know when the meeting is and we can attend it. I love you guys having, the question and answer thing. However, for me, it's more helpful to have the questions and answers after the meeting because we don't know what questions to have if we haven't heard the meeting. So to have questions before the meeting, we don't know what to ask if we don't know what it's all about. So we need to have it structured as after meetings and not before. Would be very helpful for a lot of us, I think. And I just thank you for that.
Okay, we'll think about that. Anyone else? I guess there is no anyone else to
Alexa,
mhm.
I'd like to make a public comment.
I guess you can.
Well, I want to congratulate you and Amy for being reappointed. I know you guys, everybody who always serves on the board always takes a lot of grief for this or that, but you rarely get commended. And I just wanted to say three things. One is, I don't know if you're aware, but Amy and I are both delegates for the district, for the precinct here in Tickaboo. And in March, we had the county convention, the county Republican convention. It was at Ruby's Inn. And Commissioner Pollock he was tied up because he was doing some prep work for speeches for Governor Cox. But Commissioner Tebbs and Commissioner Taylor came over and really filled Amy with a lot of praise for the job that you all are doing on the board. And she was very proud of the things that he said. You know, Commissioner Tebbs is also the CFO for Ruby's End, certified financial officer, and he's really good with books. And he did say to Amy that he thought that those were the best books he's seen in quite some time, and he was really pleased, and so was Commissioner Taylor. And then fast forward that to last Monday, I had some other business which I'll get into during the manager's report with the commission, but they didn't take 20 seconds to reappoint you guys, and you can tell it's because they think you're doing a fabulous job. So on Tuesday morning, I have my board of directors meeting with the owners and the other board of directors for North Lake Powell. And they wanted me to extend a hearty congratulations to you all for being reappointed. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Well, anyone else want to make a public comment? Okay, if not, then we'll just move on to the next board reports and a business. Amy, Mike, do you have anything to
Alexa,
bring forward? Yes, Amy.
I think that we should probably confirm all current positions, since we are starting into a new term here. Is that okay to do that?
Yeah, Mike suggested the same thing earlier. I don't know if he was just emailing me or
I
that
didn't see
went
that.
around, but yes.
Okay,
Um,
well, let's.
I don't know. It's not. I thought it's not on the agenda. So I think if we want to change something, we can't really vote on it. I think it's okay if nothing changes. Would you agree with that, Mike?
Yeah, we can add it to the next agenda. Just make a note. Put it on the next agenda and it's just a formality. We need to do it.
Yeah. Is
Doesn't need to
everybody
change.
still good with the positions that they have? Or is there a desire to change anything? So I think as officers, we have John is our clerk, Amy is our record officer, Mike is the treasurer, and I've been the chair. So maybe if nobody wants to make any changes, I'm fine with the way things are. Although I'm not used to hearing myself speak quite as much or as often as I do in these meetings. So let's just put that on the agenda for next next formal meeting, which we should publish the calendar for the every 3 months meeting that we decided on. That should make that clear for everyone as well.
I think we do. I'll double check.
Yeah,
Well,
did we already do that?
Don't hold me to that publicly yet, but let me check the
Yeah.
website to be sure, but I'll certainly
Yeah.
check that. And I think also I'll put on there that there could be other meetings. You know, there are going to be some that are going to be as needed.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
okay, oh, I got an email, if I may, on the board reports, I got an email from the federal government who accepted us into the Utility and Grid Operating Rolling Technical Assistance Program. So this is just part of what we've been doing, kicking every stone, hoping that something will crawl out from under and help us move towards renewable energy and financial sustainability. But there's another thing that I wanted to do, because I always focus on all the things that haven't been done yet. And I think here, like the financial sustainability and green energy part, that is still this looming big job ahead. And there is the getting some compensation for our lost water rights that is also still out there. So just to make myself feel better, I made a little list of the things that we did accomplish in the last 2 years. And since now we're kind of starting in a new period, maybe you will allow me to briefly go over the list that I came up with. And I think our number one achievement is that we disposed of unused TUID assets to replenish the reserves that we found depleted below the levels required by our loan agreement. And then we used that money to buy a new MQ generator, the original we found unoperative, and start working on the deferred maintenance on the C9 generators. We protected TUID from almost immediate insolvency by introducing a fuel surcharge if diesel goes to $5 a gallon, which is not inconceivable. We're now protected for that. John and Connie have been creating operating procedures that will offer guidance to whoever will be in the position that we were in 2 years ago, to just take over with no person to tell you which way is up. We replaced an ancient laptop with some modern equipment, because we could never found a new one that was supposed to be somewhere around, and then we reassembled all the missing files to the best of our abilities. And we laid the groundwork. That's how I am describing our failure so far of securing a grant after 2 applications. We laid the groundwork for the transition and a grant application by building relationships with providers of solar equipment and with the Federal Department of Energy, with NREL and other laboratories. So I just wanted to say that even though we're always focused on what we didn't do, I just wanted to say out loud that we did do all that. And I want to thank everyone involved in doing all those things and moving these things forward, and just keep on keeping on. That is what I had to say this time around. Amy, Mike, anything else to bring up in the board report?
Just to kind of carry on with what you were saying, Alexa, I think John and Connie have done a tremendous job as well in identifying, future maintenance goals that we need to have with the water lines and the valves, and just kind of gets that stuff out on the table where we can address it properly and quickly and not have to be reactive in a situation. We're moving forward in a good place, I think.
Good. Thank you, Mike. John, can you address number 7?
Tell me what
Yeah.
number 7 is, Alexa. I don't have the agenda right in
Oh,
front of me.
it's the audit engagement letter.
Good deal. Yeah, it's just gonna be the the repetition of what we've done in the past, or obviously the year-end audit's required. And then through the familiarity of Hinton Burdick, and they've always done a good job, so it's just not that, it's familiarity and expertise that we go through the process to vote to re-engage them. As you guys have seen, I sent a letter to you guys, and which is an 8-page letter that spells out the price and the scope of what they do. But yeah, it's important to our year-end financials. Number one, it's a requirement, and then as we move to do our own QuickBooks, that's the backup. That's the transparency and the checks and balances. To do in our own QuickBooks, but it should help out. You guys have heard me say many a times, as we do and redo, cleaning that up, and there's no fault there with anybody here or past. It's really Larson. I mean, and again, everybody's aware of it, and sometimes you're stuck with that, and it's hard, because of where we're at. It's hard to move on, but we're working on that. But yeah, we need the present day as we speak. We need the audit approved formally to start, and we've started giving them information, but we need to make it a formal process to get that approved.
A little shocked by the price. I always want to pay people for the expertise, but it kind of hurts.
Well, what's funny about that? So in talking to Seth Ovison from the state auditor's office, that's a good price. He looked at it and voluntarily said, "Wow, that's a good deal. You need to stick with them."
Yeah, okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, it makes me feel better, sort of. Yeah, so it's about somebody who probably sees a lot of them. That's a good price, and they do good work. They're good,
Yeah.
good people, responsive and
Yeah.
professional too.
Yeah, not complaining.
So,
Does anybody have any questions or comments on the subject? I quickly read through the letter, and since it was exactly the same letter we got last year, it didn't take
Yeah.
that long for me to comprehend it.
yeah.
I have no further comments or questions on that, so I would entertain a motion to approve the audit letter, the audit.
Like a motion to approve the audit letter for the 2024 financial audit.
A second.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next subject, we brought it up as a coming attraction on December 12th. Then we talked about it on December 31st, and we postponed the vote and possible further discussions about renting the office in the NLP building until we were sure who was all going to be on the board. So I have asked Ray to introduce the subject for us and explain NLP's position in this, so it's not just me. So Ray, if you want to make a statement about that and tell us your thoughts about that, and then maybe we can talk about that for a little bit.
Sure, Alexa, thank you. So yeah, I think it was February of last year. 11 months ago that I had done a presentation to the board during the manager report section that was detailing the value of the contract that we currently have with the district. And in it, I think the numbers were about $100,000 that we were receiving for the management fee compared to about $165,000 value, which included rent on office space, storage space for the equipment, and then also the utilities that we've been paying for the storage space. And we did that intentionally to try to help the district get back on their feet financially. And as you just stated in your board report, that it's overwhelming success with that. And now North Lake Powell is faced with we're reopening up base camp this year. We've got Amy and I have a meeting Saturday with the staff, the key staff who's going to be involved in getting that up and getting Moki's up. And 2 years of offering that rent free to the district, I think has helped financially for the district. And it's just basically come down to the time where we would like for the district to consider, it's a normal operating expense, rent, storage space, and utilities. So we started that dialogue back in February of last year, and we discussed it all throughout the year as we got down towards the end. I think you came up with some really good suggestions, and the owners also agreed on the amounts, and so that's the proposal that we're offering right now.
Thank you, Ray. Amy, Mike, do you have any comments, suggestions, questions for Ray?
This time.
Okay, so well, I don't think we have on the public notice site. I've published a document that says thoughts on office and storage lease, and I forgot to put my name on it. I just want to make clear that those were just my thoughts, nobody else's. And if I do that, then I should put my name on it, because I realized that I had rattled through my thoughts twice during board meetings. And I know when I'm faced with somebody rattling off opinions, then I always want them to write it down so I can think about it. So that's what I did, but then I forgot to put my name on it, and I apologize for that. I didn't want to suggest that this was anybody's thoughts but mine. So I won't go through them in any great detail at this time. I just wanted to say that I think the price is a market rate or better, according to my research, that I believe no representations were made 2 years ago that the office would be free until the end of time, or even for the duration of the contract. I believe the representation was made that it was available and that the administration was going to move there. I also believe that $1,200 per month is reasonable for the office and the storage space and the utilities and all the phone and internet charges. So that is all I have to say about that. And just because I'm speaking, maybe I can make the motion that we, the lease is also, the draft lease is also on the public record site. So I believe everybody had a chance to have a look at the legal language. So I would like at this time to make a motion to approve the lease as it has been written.
I'll second.
Okay, is any further discussion necessary, wanted at this point?
Alexa, I've kind of been in opposition to this all along, and just based on verbal communications around the contract negotiation, I know that that you stated that the lease is silent either way, or the contract is silent either way, excuse me, and so I'm not taking a position of I'm totally against this. I see its value and I see its merit. I had issue with the way things came around, so that's all really I got to say.
Thank you, Mike. Shall we just let's do this vote a little more formal than just waiving, as this is a big deal and a lot of money. So Amy Golden, what is your vote?
Before I vote, I just want to acknowledge that I do work for North Lake Powell. And to be totally transparent, I have absolutely nothing to gain personally or financially from this vote. So therefore, I'm going to vote yes.
Thank you, Amy. Mike Morlang?
I'm going to vote in favor because I see the merit of leasing the office space and just learn to be more clear next time we have a contract.
Thank you, Mike. And Alexa Wilson, I vote in favor. So that is unanimous, which makes me happy. It's always my preference to do these things with agreement of all three board members, especially with a small board like ours. 2-1 is always works, but it's not my preferred outcome. So thank you, especially you, Mike, for working through the issues. And
If there's something else I can say, kind of makes sense to me. TUID's paid office space for, I think, since its inception. So the previous manager was being compensated for office space. So it makes sense. Like I said, I think, going forward, we can be a little more careful, make sure we got things documented.
yes, and I will make the commitment here to kind of loop everyone in at a little bit earlier stage. I tend to kind of get things done, chop, and that's not always the best approach. So thank you for reminding me of that. I appreciate that. I lost my place. General managers report. That's John or Ray or whoever wants to do, or both, whoever wants to do the honors for NLP as general manager.
Yeah, I've got that unless Ray has something to add too. You have anything, Ray?
Yeah, I do. Did you, John? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you can go first. Yeah, I just have some informal updates that I'd like to share.
Okay, so as I stated earlier, I was in communications with the county and the commissioners because of the big storm that we had last week that ripped the roof off of one of the homes. And typically this wouldn't be an issue for the district except for two things. And Dave Dodds, as you know, is the director of public works. And he wanted to let me know, and this was a big deal, that they've been trying to come out here first off to redig the landfill, and they're coming next week or the following week. We're going to have basically a new landfill, but it'll be in the same place. So they'll probably be there a couple weeks cleaning that up and redigging it. and then it'll be a hopefully a much nicer place. They've got some ideas on how to mitigate the trash that flies around and stuff like that. But the other part, the part that was more important was the home on lot 114. It created quite a mess in the neighborhood. And we don't really have any governing authority to do anything about it, neither the district nor the fire department. It is a fire hazard, and we discussed it at length, and I think the commissioners now have placed it in Barry Huntington's hand, the county attorney. And this is the part that that I need somebody's help in. And Alexa, I can, if you want me to, I'm going to forward this letter to you right now.
Okay.
And the letter is from they drew the draft up for us, the county did. And it's for whoever's going to sign this letter. I'm writing on behalf of the Tickaboo Utility Improvement District to request your assistance, blah, 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 blah. And when they're out here doing the landfill cleanup, they're going to demo that house. They got to send this letter. The county has to send a letter to the owner first to let him know that he has X amount of days to come and clean up the mess, or the county will do it and bill him for it. It's going to be a sticky situation for you guys anyway, because it is part of John's receivables that has gone on quite a while. And the county also has some receivables on it as well. But anyways, this letter, it's pretty long, and it explains to Mr. Huntington what we want to do, or what the district wants to do. And so I forward it to you just now. I
And see, it
forwarded.
doesn't have anything attached to it. It's just the
Uh,
email.
it's just copy paste. They wrote it.
Oh, there it goes. Dear Mr.
Yeah.
Huntington.
So I just sent it to Connie as well, and if you would like, I could see if Connie would just copy and paste that on TUID letterhead. I could have Amy sign it, and we could send it right back to Mr. Huntington so he can jump on this, Johnny, on the spot. Or if you have to take time to do it. I was under the impression it was going to be written on behalf of the Tickaboo Volunteer Fire Department. Maybe they made that decision after the meeting that maybe the district should present this letter back to Barry Huntington. So I'm sending it to you now. I just got it late last night. And if you agree to that, what you see on there, I can see if Connie will copy paste that and have Amy sign it, or if one of you want to sign it, whatever you want to do, and get this back as soon as possible so that we can, while they're out here with all that heavy equipment, they could demo that house right off the property.
I'm just looking at the last sentence where it says, we ask for authorization for the county to step in. I think what we would do is to just ask the county to step in. Well,
Barry drew the letter up.
yeah. Well, I mean, in general, that sounds good. I mean, I'm a little unsure what. Oh, I guess our issue would be that they owe us $8,000 as well.
I think it's more than that, but I think what your issue is that it's a hazard in the current state. And by coincidence, he also owes quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I'm a little unsure about TUID's interest in it, but I'm okay since he owes us a chunk of money as well. That it makes sense for us to alert the county that this situation is going on. So yeah. Can you give me like an hour after the meeting to just go over it and make me feel better about it?
If you have like I said, originally, we were under the impression it was going to be the Tickaboo Fire Department, and I'm the chief, so I can change that language and send it off. I don't know why they sent it with the utility improvement district. I think it's because you are a governing body
Yeah,
that has some form of tax.
yeah.
But I could, if you don't feel comfortable with it, I could
No,
switch.
I just wanna like focus on it for
Okay, yeah,
5 minutes before saying yes, definitely.
That may be it. It's just, we have mutual liens, county and TUID have
Yeah.
mutual liens against properties, so. Um,
Mm.
So if you would, then Alexa, if you want me to send it to everybody, or are you okay just looking at it yourself?
And I can look at it unless anybody, I mean, can send it to Amy and Mike just so they know, and if they have something to contribute that would
Then,
make things better.
then if you don't mind, if you all are in agreement, just, and if Connie, if you're okay with it, if you can just copy, if they're agreeing, copy and paste that onto letterhead, and then Amy can come down there and sign it, and then we just email it right back to Barry, because he needs to get on it pretty quick since his
Yeah.
guys are coming out.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's all I had.
Mm.
are all the utilities disconnected, John? Do you know for sure?
You know, Mike, I was gonna bring that up. I know there's no meter, plugged into the base on the electrical end, but we'd have to look at water, gas, I don't think, but the key word is to verify that. Yeah, especially things like water, to be number one, verify it beforehand with a pre-inspection, and then sort of be out there with them to make sure they don't run over something in the process. Yeah, I gotta be wary of that.
Okay. John.
Yes,
Your
okay.
turn.
My turn. Okay, a couple of things. Ray mentioned the big storm. Yeah, one of the bigger ones I've seen in my time here in terms of sand going into everything where it doesn't belong. The power plant was part of that, found every crevice and mouse hole imaginable. So I've started cleaning up some, but it's enough. It's just going to take a while, there, and it's important. We need to, everything needs to be clean. Machines don't like sand being mixed in with them. So working on getting that cleaned up, and then cleaning up too where they took the C9 out and the one they're going to bring back. It's a mess too. So it's tougher when it's colder to do everything up there, but it's cold as a freezer in there. It's even tougher changing oil because it doesn't want to move through the pump. It's got a temperature range that it'll move. When it gets down in the teens, that oil does not like to move. So working on that. And you guys have seen the communications about the reverse reactive power issue. That was something among the records I couldn't find. There were some very detailed ones about that, so I've read them, and I even knew about it from living here. I mean, it was that big of a deal in the past, when I wasn't running TUID, but knew about it. So it's reared up again, and in my uneducated mind, it's changed. There's something. It'll happen, then it won't, and it'll happen, then it won't. And right now we're 3 days, knock on wood, without it happening. So I'm bringing ECI back, number one, to brief me beforehand, to educate me more. And then number two, check what they did. They put in what they call the K-bar reactor before. Number one, to make sure it's still working. I don't know if you guys remember about a year ago, when the interior of the power plant was silent, you can hear it buzzing, which was a concern. When the generators run, you can't hear anything in there basically because you have ear protection. But last year they said, "Oh, you need one." I'm like, well, that doesn't work. I need you guys to test it. So we're going to get to that, and then the motors that we have, they're out in the field down in Tickaboo. They run. I check them weekly, but just seeing if anything's changed on that end, and see how we can address it, because it's definitely shown back up. It's again, knock on wood. It's right now, it's okay, but you never know. You can kind of see it when you read what they used to monitor, things like power factor and some of the K-bars and the negative amount. You can kind of get an idea, but it's after the fact. I mean, you don't you don't know when it's coming. And I'm sure Mike knows more about it than me, but it's the devil, man, trying to figure out, what part of imbalance. And I know as part of that, there were plans at one time to look at power meters or power quality meters. That would probably be something to try to look at too in the future. So yeah, working on that and getting those right now, just deal with the errors and record them. The MQ is not as sophisticated enough to tell you what's happening to it. Like the cats can tell you what's going on with them. So that's a difference in, in seeing it. But anyway, working on that. And yeah, Mike's right about communication too. I mean, that's the breakdown of everything in my mind. If something goes afoul, it's usually can be traced back to communication. And that's like with this too. There's several people that reached out. I get their panic. We're in a remote area. Being the guy who runs this, there's sometimes it's a miracle that we produce power uninterrupted as long as we do with all the challenges that we have. But in return, I ask those people to update their information with us because I do seek to update people ahead of time, but people either don't read their emails or they don't get them. They have the wrong email. So, but, ask people to reach out and update their information. It's a two-way street. Communication always is. It is never the onus of one side. It is, the person communicating is one part, but also the receiver of the message has to get that too. So I've asked people to reach out and update their communications. And some people will email back like, hey man, I appreciate it, got it. And that's highly appreciated too when people acknowledge that they've seen something. But as always, people can always stop by. You stop by and call or email, and I'll be glad to explain that and go through it with people as far as that goes. Speaking of that too, I've sent you guys questions to ProBid as we talk about solar and the future. Just waiting for them to get back with me. Again, I think we all share the same sentiment that we need more accurate numbers. It's a lot of writing, and we need to, we need to know what, the bottom line, the money, and what that is. And speaking of communication, and I appreciate it. Somebody reached out and commented on the new budget, about where you guys looking at cost of living increases. And it's a matter of semantics, but what they mean by that is, and it's a good point. What do you look at increases? And honestly, think about this. When was the last rate increase? Mike, do you recall offhand? I don't.
Just in base fees. I know our water base fees were really low.
Yeah.
And we did increase the base fees, but as far as a per gallon or per kilowatt hour, I don't think it's been for my time.
Yeah, and if you stop and think about that, our expenses have gone up. So we're obviously we're paying more out. And I think an example I gave you guys is CAT started charging more for travel time, as did everybody. It's not just them. I work with another service out of Grand Junction, Diesel Performance. Now they charge you the text rate, which is $140 per hour to drive here. They used to not do that. That's why we brought the MQ to them. It saved a lot of money to bring it and pay that versus them coming and going. But my point is, yeah, we're actually making less money. I mean, not that we make any, what we make goes to repair and replace things. So it's not a matter of profit. It's a matter of, money to have for need. But and my response to that person was, man, it's tough. I mean, you're paying so much money as it is. It's a tough leap to ask people to pay more. I get that. But so as we talk about favors and cost, we're really, you look at the last from 2020 to now, especially with the pandemic, which everybody blames everything on, that's costs have gone up exponentially. So,
Well, and too, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If you keep costs the same for too long and then have to make a big jump, that's almost worse than incrementally moving forward, as necessary. And really where that rate study would help a lot too with our future.
Yeah.
No.
I still like that too. It's a matter of money, as I also explained too. Because the rate study wasn't just about power, it talked about water and your other services like solid waste and wastewater and how they had to align because you're regulated that you can't charge for one to pay part of the other. They need to stand alone too. But that's not an easy one, but it's something to be thinking about, especially with where solar goes. I know that kind of goes with it, and everybody's waiting on that too. But oddly enough, I just got off a required training, and you introduce yourself and say where you're from. And I always start, I'm like, hey, I'm from the big city of Tickaboo. I run one of the biggest utilities in state, Tickaboo, to kind of, break the ice. But today, people remembered me from the news piece. And they specifically, it's not so much they remembered me. The first two things they remember was Tickaboo and the price of electricity. So I did get the message out there in a dubious manner, but believe it or not, people today were like, "Oh yeah, we know where Tickaboo is now because that piece on the news." But anyway, something to look at in the future, and the goal is obviously for something with less moving parts to solve that, and that's how I see solar. You got thousands of less parts versus a generator that you hope don't break. They do get old, as Mike can tell you too. They do age, and that's a consideration we have to look at with anybody we talk to is how long the PPA is and how long this equipment is going to last, and how long warranties and agreement service the grid go to. So
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a discussion with to get some interaction with those folks myself.
well, and yeah, so
And
he's
maybe feel more comfortable with
I
all
agree.
that.
Well, he's asked to come down here, but it also needs to be, a step process that we have good information to look over before he comes down. It needs to be, if that makes sense to you guys, it needs to be a step in the process too.
Yeah, and maybe we can just do it over Zoom. I mean, Tickaboo, for most of us, Tickaboo is kind of at the end of the universe.
Yeah, I think that's a good next step in looking at it. There's no need to come here until you're about ready to shake hands, sort of, so to speak. But I
Because
would,
what really worries me is, especially given the new administration coming in, that if they say that any tax changes are going to be the risk of TUID, and if for some reason they are going to get rid of the 40% tax credit, that is not a risk we can take.
yeah, that's tough.
That's even if the chance is fairly small,
Yeah,
but green energy subsidies is definitely on the top of the list when Elon and Vivek are making up their list for the chopping block.
yeah, I agree. Well, the good thing, what the biggest builder of EV cars in America and a solar guy. So,
Yeah.
um,
Maybe healthy self-interest, as misplaced as it may be in this context,
yeah,
may save us.
yeah, no doubt. No, we'll see about that. But
So,
anyway, that's an update on that. I'm still pressing those guys as we
yeah.
talk about communication, to get that.
Yeah, we are kind of on a timeline though,
Yeah,
because we have to, if we're gonna present the concept paper to the grant giver on February 27, that sounds like a long time away, but it really isn't.
yeah,
And if we want to coordinate between NREL and ProBid to kind of glue the whole thing together in a partnership, that's a lot of work that needs to be done before February 27.
yeah, I agree. And I am pressing those guys, multiple times a week to get that. It is a bit of a communication.
Yeah.
We need it.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe before pressing them to come up with their final numbers, maybe a discussion, a little wider discussion may be helpful for them as well to give them a broader idea about where we're coming from as well.
Yeah, I agree.
And
So
that might make the ProBid guys feel a little bit more comfortable working with us as well.
yeah, I agree. No, so I'll continue to work on that. Let's see. I think they did, they being Wheeler Cat did mention that the C9, the rebuilt one was due back probably sooner than later, which is fine. I mean, we'll still spread out the payments and they're good with that. I think I've got them to do it over 3 months, maybe a little longer. So that helps soften that blow. But that it's amazing how being down one of them. I mean, you really need all four up there. I mean, the way you rotate and as I mentioned, changing oil in the winter. As I was telling Connie, well, normally I would offset them where you don't have to change, where you're not changing or trying to change oil in 17-degree weather. Believe it or not, all that stuff you miss one of them. That's what I'm saying. So it'll be good to have that back and refurbished and like new condition as far as that goes too. So I think it'll handle these issues. And Alexa, I saw that on the rolling grid assistance. Yeah, whatever they can provide, that'd be great if they know about reverse reactive power. We can put them to work.
Yeah, who knows? And to be completely honest, I can't even remember what exactly I asked them.
Yeah.
Um,
I signed up for that too, and there's been
So we're not even sure if they responded to you or me. So
Yeah,
I really want them to tell us what they have from us at this
we
point.
could they could probably learn something from running this grid rather than
Yeah.
teaching us. We might be able to
Yeah.
teach them something too. But
Yeah.
anyway, now any kind of help is always welcome as far as that. But that's it. Other than that, just again, between education and stuff we do, it's never a dull day. But as always, ultimate goal is to save TUID money, and not at the expense of his services or the future. Is just trying to do everything that's there. It's a lot of it's self-evident, and it's still taking care of the most prevalent things in order of priority. But it's still the goal every day, and to get people the services they need to. That's
So
it.
you guys are going to be away from Tickaboo for a couple of days?
Um,
Something like that?
Friday and Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, that's not very long. So I've sent you a couple of emails with calendaring item things.
Yeah.
So if you can have a quick look at that.
Yeah, I'll get back with you on those.
Yeah.
It's funny, a lot. I'm sure you guys see this too. You have people post things. You're like, I've got stuff. I always have to move stuff around. That goes with the territory. Some dates are sacred. Like I got to have a tooth checked out. That's non-negotiable.
Right.
Cracked tooths are fall in that category.
Yeah. Well, we can't afford to lose you to a tooth infection. Luckily, people don't die of that anymore, but
They can. Actually, when I worked offshore, if you can't, and I actually saw it happen, if you flew offshore and knew you had a bad tooth, you were terminated because they had to fire up a helicopter and spend about and fewer pilots. I actually saw a guy do it and get terminated. I mean, I just have that mentality, from dealing with that. That's how big of a deal it is. But
well, especially if you're out in the boonies.
yeah, I know.
Like
Yeah.
you're so many hours away from actual medical help.
Yeah, no
Kind of
doubt.
scare me.
Yeah. But that aside, yeah, no, we'll get all that going, and yeah, that kind of sums up everything on my end. But yeah, no, we're just still at it as far as everything going on.
Okay, well, thank you, John and Connie, as always. When is our next board meeting? That would be in March, right?
We had February, but maybe it is March.
March.
Okay.
I can look it up.
On a Wednesday. Oh, better get these things on my calendar.
March 19th.
Huh. Can you send me the schedule? For some reason, these dates did not make it on my calendar, which is dangerous.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, anybody want a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, thank you all. See you next time. Appreciate all your good work.
All right, have a good day, guys.